I'm back. This is Chandler for Melda Production, and today I want to show you how to get some Alan Holdsworth inspired tones. People often ask me, how do you get that tone? And actually, lots of it is in the delay. You need a multi-tap delay. And today I'm going to be using MDelayMB, or multiband, because there's so many delay taps available, and you can get the sound easily. So during the first part, I'm going to show you some examples of some presets I made, and if you have MDelayMB, you can just download those. So I made about 13 of them, and then during the second part, I'll show you how you can do it yourself. So let's get started. So first off, let me show you this clean example I have. This is just a clean guitar part. So as you heard, there's no delay or no reverb on that at all. So now let's add some. So I'm going to send it to this delay bus. And here, I think I already have it set up here. So this is a preset I made called AH Clean. I have the dry set to 0 because it's a send. So let's listen to this. So as you heard, it has a really light chorusy sound, it has lots of air to it. It sounds really great to me, and it greatly expanded the stereo width. So to me, this is a great sound. And I have a few variations. So here's the second one. That one sounds like it has a little bit less stereo width. Here's the third one. The fourth one. This one has fewer delay taps, and actually it has shorter delay taps there, so it's not quite as long and as big as some of the other ones, but sometimes that's what you want. So as you see here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 4 clean sounds. I'll actually let you hear the 5th clean sound if you want. Here's the last example. This one is only using 4 delay taps. So this one, it doesn't have too much of a tail, but it has a lot of stereo expansion. Okay, so you heard those, and I did the same thing for lead sounds. So let me turn this one on. Same thing, send it over here. So here I have AH lead 1. Before we listen to that with it on, let's listen to just the dry sound by itself. Okay, you heard it's very dry. There's no reverb or delay on there at all. Now let's hear it with this delay preset on. The second one. Third one. The fourth one. And the last one. So, as you heard, I wanted to give you lots of different variations on this, just in case. You never know what you'll need for a certain project. So, you have 5 variations on clean and 5 variations on lead. And if you saw, I also have some other ones called hybrid. These are ones that I believe will work on clean sounds or on distorted sounds like a lead sound. So, you're probably asking, why can't you use the clean ones on the lead sound? And you actually can, but I'll let you listen to it. So, let's listen to this one time. I'm going to use this AH Clean 1 preset on the lead sound. So as you heard there, it doesn't sound bad, but it sounds very chorused. So we don't want that. So let's try the hybrid one here and see what this sounds like. So I think that sounds all right. And on the other hand, when you don't have that kind of chorusing for a clean sound, it sounds a little bit dead. So let's try the lead patch on this clean sound. So that sounds all right, but then if we compare it to this clean patch, okay, so you see that has a lot more air. I like that better personally. But the hybrids are kind of in the middle. They have not so much chorusing, so they're okay to use on the lead sound, but they have a little bit of that air, so they can be used on the clean sound, like this. And I have 3 of those. So I'm going to upload these to the online Melda preset exchange. So if you have MDelay multiband, just go there and you can download them. You can search by AH and you should find all 13 on there. So if that's all you need, I hope that helps you out. And for those that want, more detailed information, let's go in and try to recreate one of these patches. So let's try the clean sound first. When you open up MDelay multiband, it'll look like this at first. Now what we want to do is just go into the edit screen here, and we're going to add some bands. In this case, let's add about 4 bands. Okay? I can make that a little bit smaller. I don't need so much size here. It's a great thing you can resize these. Now I'm going to right click again, and I want to set it to disabled. This is just like the other video I showed on changing MDelayMB into a multiband delay. So now that we have this here, since we're going to make a clean sound, what I want to do is I want to modulate each of these delay sounds. And as I said before, you can link this, turn it on here, and that'll turn Delay Tap 2 on for every single band. Another thing I want to do is make sure all of these are set to classic. They are. That's what I want. And I want to turn down the feedback here. And I'm going to use some somewhat specific delay times. They don't have to be as specific as I'm being here, but if you set any delay time, it might sound a little bit strange. So what we want to do is just set this delay time here to a rather low number, turn off the link. I'm going to set this one at 23 milliseconds. Set this one at 30 milliseconds. Go to band 2. Set this one at 38 milliseconds. The other one at 47 milliseconds. To the third band, I'm going to set the next one to 300 milliseconds. This tap will be set to 400 milliseconds. And the last band will have a millisecond setting of 341 and 450 milliseconds. Okay, so it didn't take too long. Now I'm going to go back to band 1, and one of the things I want to change is change the panorama. Link this, turn this all the way to the left, and turn this all the way to the right, and then turn the link off. I wanted to do that because now in every band it'll be set left, and right. That's what we want. Another thing, since this is on a send, I want to set the dry sound to 0. It has the wet at 50% here. I want to set it to 100% like this. Okay? So now I have everything set up for the most part, but there's still a few things I want to change. I want to add a little bit of feedback to bands 3 and 4. So let's say I'll set 15.9, 15.9 here, and here I'm going to set it, let's say around 11 for this side and maybe 12 for this side. So now things should be sounding okay, almost like what I want, but I still need to decrease the volume here. I could do it using the gain, but if I just move it down here, I can decrease it also. So I'll move this down like this. You can set this however you want, but generally I think the longer delays should be lower in volume and the shorter delays can be a little bit higher in volume. Another thing you want to do is turn down the output gain. Since I'm using 4 delays, the output's going to be rather high. So I'm going to turn it down, and then I'm going to look here where it says input and output, and I want to match these if possible. And if you're trying to do a lead delay sound, this is pretty much all you need to do. And you can adjust this. Maybe I want a little bit more volume for these last delays, but they're not so bad. But let's say we want to do a clean sound. What we need now is modulation. So I'm going to make this utilities a little bit larger, and you see I have mod 1 here. This is where I can create LFOs and I can create all sorts of modulation. So an easy way to do this is click link, click clear and learn. Now this delay time here, I'm going to move up a little bit. And this delay time here, I'm going to move up a little bit. Okay? And so now this will be recorded. But the problem is it kind of messed up my delay times. And what I can do in here is just go in here and look at band 1 and think, okay, I want about 3 to 4 milliseconds each. I think anything between 1 millisecond and 4 milliseconds is good. So 23 and 26. The other side is 30, and let's do 33. Here I had 30 or 38 milliseconds, so let's move this back to 38 milliseconds. Move this to, let's say, 40 milliseconds. The other band I will have at 47 milliseconds. And let's say 50 milliseconds. The next band I had at 300 milliseconds. And 400 milliseconds. And the last 2 bands I had at 341 milliseconds and 450 milliseconds. Okay? And make sure I actually change the maximal value so it's 3 milliseconds each. That one's okay. That one's okay. Oh, this one needs to be about 303. And this one needs to be about 344. That one's okay. This one's okay. This one needs to be about 402, 403. It's not really a science. You can kind of set this however you want. And this one is 40 or 453. Okay, everything's set. Turn it on. This is a little bit slow. I usually like to set it at 0.4 to 0.8 hertz. So let's try like 6. So now if you look, all of them are moving. And if you want it to be a little bit more random, you can take this and every single one of these invert, which means instead of going from the minimum value to the maximal, it'll reverse it. So do every other one of these reversed. Invert, and last but not least, invert. Now let's see how it sounds. So there you go. That's how you can do it yourself. And if you're wondering, like, how did you get the hybrid sounds? All I did was take the shortest delays, bands 1 and 2, and turn those off. So all I have to do is do this. So bands 3 and 4, those are still modulated, but bands 1 and 2 have no modulation. So that's how you do it. And of course, you can adjust the volumes, the amount of feedback, etc. to taste. And of course, you can mess around with the delay times. These are examples, but generally, I think short delay times under about 50 milliseconds for the first two bands, and then for the other two bands, around 300 to 400 region work well. But of course, experiment yourself, or if you don't want to experiment and do this yourself, just use the presets I'm going to provide here. There should be 13 of them, so that should be more than enough. And if you like this, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and be sure to check out all the other plugins at Melder Production. Until next time, see you.